Hello and welcome. My name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for joining me for our first card this week, designed around the stamp set beside me, which obviously is a mail card for either father, grandfather, uncle, any male relative or friend really, as you can see. So I've done my normal of stamping out all the stamps on my piece of paper to see what I've got. So as I say, 3 main focal images, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sentiments. So you've got beside me all the way, celebrating you today, grateful for you all year long, happy Father's Day, you've always been there for me, thank you Dad, and you still are. So some great sentiments, and as I say, 3 main focal points. So let me bring in the card that we're going to create today, and it is this one. So I think this is quite cute, really pleased with it. We've got a bit of embossing, a bit of designer series paper, and of course colouring. So if I bring in the supplies now, any embossing folder would work, but I've got this one which dates back to when the motorbikes were in the catalogue, so that works. I still love this, so I didn't really want to get rid of it. So it doesn't have to be this embossing folder, it can be any embossing folder you so wish, whatever you've got that is available. And then I have my pieces of cardstock. So the first one is Pecan Pie, measuring 5 3/4 by 8, which will fold in half at the 4-inch. Then we have a piece of Lemon Lolly. This is 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. I have an inside layer which measures 3 1/2 by 5 1/4. Then I have 2 pieces of cardstock, and the reason I've got these is because I couldn't decide which one I wanted, whether it was going to go for the Lemon Lolly or the Pecan Pie. So both measure 5 1/8 by 3 1/8. And then you've got this little piece that will obviously match onto these, and that measures 3 by 5, which gives us this little bit here. And then I have a tiny piece of designer series paper which measures 2 inches by 2 7/8. And then I have a piece of white cardstock, which for a sentiment, which is 1/2 inch by 2 1/4, because I felt on this time I was going to do a standout sentiment. So let's put all these pieces aside and work on our first part, which is this piece. Right, so I've taken the little boy and his dad at the beach. I'm going to stamp that straight away in Pecan Pie, and I'm going to stamp that as far over as I want to the right hand side, making sure I've got enough space on the left hand side for my designer series paper to fit. So let's go. There we go. Lovely. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some seagulls, and I'm going to stamp them in Smoky Slate. So it looks like Dad is actually pointing to the seagulls rather than nothing at all. So let's put those up there. Okay. Now, of course, all we need to do now is to colour those in before we do the designer series paper. And as usual, I have already done that. So there we go. Then I've brought my piece of designer series paper, as I say, will go here. Perfect. And I can layer that with, not layer it, glue it down with my multi-purpose. There we go. And then that will just go down with a small layer of white showing around the edges. Lovely. I'm just going to bring in my bone folder because I just want to make sure that is exactly down. There we go. So now I can bring in my sentiment, and then I can probably put my sentiment somewhere about there. So let's stamp that out again in, oops, she says, viciously throwing the ink across. I'm going to use a happy birthday. Of course, you can use whatever sentiment you wish. And I'm going to stamp that in the pecan pie as well. So, there we go. And bring that down. There we are, happy birthday. And then I'm going to raise that up in dimensionals. I've got a bit of dimensional bonage down here, so I'm just going to, oh look, there's one complete one there, so let's use that. And there. And I've got 2 pieces I don't need to cut. One to go in the middle and one to go at the end. There we go. And of course I've got the backings already coloured, so I will know which ones I've already taken off and which ones I haven't, if I forget. And then the third one. There we go. So let's layer that. I think we're looking good about there. So a little bit of the DSP showing on this side and then going onto there. And I think that works quite well. Now this is where the do I or don't I. So we've got the pecan pie and the lemon lolly. Now obviously these are then going to be matted on top of the lemon lolly once I've embossed it. So maybe we need to emboss it first. So let's go and do that. So remember, this is the embossing folder I'm going to use. What I like to do is I like to make sure that this line here, which has the Stampin' Up logo on, is always facing up, so that when the paper goes in, I know that I'm going to get the embossed the right direction. And then what I try and do is I line the paper up along the line as much as possible. So let's go and emboss that now. Okay, so that's done. There's the embossing. So let's see which I prefer. I think, looking at it straight away, it's going to be the pecan pie, but let's just double check. Yeah, it doesn't really give it much of a definition, whereas I think that small outline of the pecan pie peeking through will look, yeah, that's perfect. Okay, I'm happy with that. So let's mount the white onto the pecan pie mat. There we go. Because the embossing, or the next layer, is embossed, what I like to do, I rather prefer, is to use my dimensionals, as I feel it gives it a better grip to the roughness of the embossing folder. Just cut a few of these up. Okay, so corners, and I will put one in the middle today as well. There we go. Let's get rid of some of this clutter. Okay, she says, and then bringing back in her pick tool. 1, 2. So in the middle of this week, we've got our new catalogue being launched. So if anybody would like a catalogue and you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to send you a catalogue if you'd like one. So just drop me a line in the comments below and I will certainly send you one as soon as possible if you haven't already got one. Right, the concentration there, there we go. Right, and then that needs to be just layered onto our base card. I'm just going to fold that in half. Now obviously you can score that at the 4-inch, or you can do what I just did and estimate and fold, but it will give you the same result. And then that can now be glued down using the multi-purpose on there as well. I really like those colours together. I wasn't sure when I initially chose them, but I think it worked quite well. Right, there we go. So that can then be layered onto there. And the only thing really left to do now is to put the inside card inside. Well, let's glue that down as well. There we go. So I very bravely put my Alexa outside so that it wouldn't interrupt our video. Unplugged her and moved her. And I've just noticed she's sprung into playing music today. I don't know if you can hear it in the background. If you can, I apologise. She is outside. The door is closed, but yet she does want to be part of the video as normal. So there we go. There is our card for today. So thank you ever so much for joining me. I hope you liked it. I will obviously be back on Wednesday with our second card and Friday with our third card. Do hop on and join me if you are available. If you're in the vicinity, we still have our coffee and cards on a Thursday where you're more than welcome to join us. So whatever you do for the rest of today, stay safe and keep crafting. Take care, everybody. Bye.